What is going on, guys? Xtimus here. So today I'm going to be showing you a complete build guide for a 2.4 Berserk Barbarian. Now, usually I've been doing a lot of budget builds and not using items that are very expensive. So in this video, we're going to be playing a Berserk Barbarian that is really expensive. So the items are going to cost you a lot, but this is a very effective and unique end game build that can absolutely destroy players 8. So just make sure you guys check out the description below for the full build guide and all of the information you need to know to make this character. And starting off, this is just going to be very similar to a Zeal Paladin, and you're going to have much more survivability because you're playing a Barbarian, and it's a very unique build. As I said before, it will be very effective in endgame. This is also a really good hardcore option if any of you guys are playing the latter season for hardcore. The survivability and the damage and clearing speed on this character is very good. And this video is sponsored by DiabloDex. This is a new trading app for Diablo 2, and I really highly suggest that you guys try this out because I use it all the time. It's the most legitimate way to trade in Diablo 2. There's no pay to win or anything like that, and it's something I really believe in, and you guys should definitely check them out because I think it's the future of Diablo trading. So moving on here with the itemization, for the weapon we're using a Grief Phase Blade. Now, most of you know that Grief is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. The reason why we're using a Phase Blade is because it doesn't need to be repaired. You could use something like a Berserker axe and make a Grief with that. However, you're going to be repairing your weapon probably every 2 chaos runs. So you will get some more damage there. I recommend using a Phase Blade because you're going to be wasting a lot of time and a lot of gold having to repair your weapon all of the time. I always recommend Phase Blades just because of that reason, and they look really cool and you get more attack speed as well. One thing I wanted to mention about this character is that he really doesn't have a lot of crushing blow or open wounds or any stats like that, and it's really surprising that this build performs so well without those types of stats on a melee character. And once we get into the gameplay, you will really see how incredible this build actually is. And for the helmet, I'm using Arreat, and I put a Shale Rune in here so I can get some faster hit recovery. We're really going to be in battle a lot. We're going to be very close to monsters, so it's really important to have some really nice faster hit recovery, and you could check your breakpoints. I would suggest you try to check the breakpoints for your faster hit recovery and maybe get some charms or skill charms that have faster hit recovery on them and get yourself to a breakpoint where you're at a really good area for some nice faster hit recovery. Another reason why Arreat is so good, it is lacking things like crushing blow and things like that, and if you use G-Face, you're going to be doing more damage. But for this build specifically, I think Arreat is really good because we're getting a lot of good survivability stats there, such as life stolen per hit, all resistances, and many other stats that are going to make your character have really good survivability, because as I said before, you're going to be getting hit a lot. And for the amulet, we're using Highlord's Wrath. This is usually the #1 amulet that melee characters use because of the increased attack speed on an amulet and the deadly strike, which gives you a chance to do critical damage. And for the shield here, I'm using Stormshield, and another really good option is Phoenix. We'll talk about Stormshield first. I recommend this because you'll have really good survivability and you'll be able to get max block. Stormshield is really nice and it has huge survivability, and allowing you to have that 75% chance to block and that 35% damage reduction right there and all the resistances. Stormshield is an amazing shield and it's really cheap in the trading community. So especially if you're doing hardcore, you definitely want to get Stormshield for this build. I recommend this over Phoenix because it's way cheaper and you're just going to have amazing survivability. Phoenix is really good in certain areas. It does give you really good survivability as well because you get the redemption aura, and what this does is when you kill monsters, it will kind of cast them up into the air, and then you will get life and mana every time you kill monsters. So it really does give you some nice survivability, and you're going to be getting a ton more enhanced damage there and many other really good stats as well, such as maximum lightning resist and 10% the maximum fire resist. So Phoenix will give you more damage and nice survivability in certain areas. However, it is very, very, very expensive, and I think a lot of people would say that this rune word is really expensive. It is, however, the bonuses that it gives makes it worth it. And for the armor, I'm using Enigma. This is really nice because we want to be able to teleport around. It's not really the best melee armor out there, but using teleport is really important so we can just travel through the world really quickly and be able to do things that the sorceress could do. It's also really good to have teleport on a barbarian because barbarians specifically don't need a lot of faster cast rate. Barbarians can spell cast very quickly. And for the gloves, I'm using Laying of Hands. This will probably get nerfed at some time in the future if Blizzard starts looking at certain items that are way overpowered. This gives you 350% damage to demons, fire resist, and increased attack speed. So Laying of Hands are definitely one of the most overpowered gloves in Diablo 2 for any melee character, and they're really cheap in the trading community. And for the rings, I'm using 2 Ravenfrost here. You definitely want to make sure you have at least one on. The other ring isn't going to matter too much, but 2 Ravenfrost is really nice. You're getting a ton of attack rating, extra dexterity there. That extra dexterity is really going to help you hit your 75% chance to block if you go for max block. Also some mana there just in case you need it for teleport. So definitely just have 1 Ravenfrost and whatever other ring that you want to use. And for the belt, I'm using Thunder Gods. This is really amazing, and I think a lot of people just don't use it very often. Almost on any character, this is really good because it gives 20 to strength. It helps you save points on strength, extra vitality, 20 lightning absorb. We all know that lightning damage does a ton of damage to you, so it's always good to have some survivability when it comes to lightning damage, and 10% to maximum lightning resist as well. And for the boots, I'm using Gore Riders. This is really good because of the chance of crushing blow. So if you're doing something like facing a boss like Diablo, the crushing blow is really going to take his health down really quickly. There's extra deadly strike as well on boots, so there's a extra chance that you could do double damage. You could use Gore Rider boots, however you could also use Sandstorm Trek, and the reason why you would use this is if you're trying to get a faster hit recovery breakpoint. And as I said before, and I'm going to keep mentioning this in this video, this barbarian does a ton of damage without crushing blow, which is actually really surprising. Even my 20 years of playing Diablo 2, I really didn't think that there was going to be a melee build that would be extremely overpowered without crushing blow. So as I said, once we get into the gameplay, you'll see how well it performs. And then on Switch, I'm using 2 Heart of the Oak. Now the reason why I have 2 of them is because I'm reaching a certain breakpoint for faster cast rate, so I can teleport around really quickly. Now there is one thing that you could do. You could put a Call to Arms right here that has at least 3 to battle orders, and this will give you 4 to battle orders. So it's really up to you if you want to use a Heart of the Oak in this slot right here or another Call to Arms. The only difference is that if you have 2 Heart of the Oaks, you're going to be teleporting more quickly. If you have a Call to Arms instead of the first slot of Heart of the Oak, you will have 1 extra skill to battle orders. So it's really up to you if you want more survivability or you want to be able to cast faster with teleport. And in the inventory, I'm using combat skill Barbarian charms. There's a lot of other really good options out there as well. I said that faster hit recovery charms will really help you out if you're trying to get a breakpoint. Resist charms may work as well. Max damage charms or anything with attack rating. Basically anything that would overall help your character, you can put in these slots for the charms. It isn't going to make or break the build, so you don't need to overthink it too much. In my opinion, I would just go for some faster hit recovery charms and hit any breakpoint that you need to get, and also get some combat skill charms for the Barbarian, because that's just going to help out your damage. It won't help out your damage very much, so another option as well would be to get Warcry skill Grand Charms. These are going to be slightly more expensive, but they're really going to give you a lot more survivability for battle orders. So it's just really up to you what you want to do. And I know it also is just based around what items you come across in the game and what trades you come across with other players as well. And for the other items as well, obviously I'm just using Annie and the Hellfire Torch. And for my Mercenary, this is definitely a new thing I keep trying to tell people that I think is a really effective Mercenary for Diablo 2 is using Lawbringer. The reason why this is so powerful is because it gives you a chance to cast Decrepify. This is going to slow the monsters in that area, and it's also going to reduce their physical resistance by 50%, which is extremely overpowered. And I think the main thing that people do not notice and they don't know about the level 18 Sanctuary aura is that it gives around 500% enhanced damage to undead. So if you're doing something like Chaos Sanctuary, you're really going to be doing a lot of damage to those types of monsters. And basically anywhere in the game, there's just undead monsters anywhere. There's a ton of them, so I really think that Lawbringer is much more powerful than people know that it is. Also, one thing I wanted to mention right here is that the Sanctuary aura from Lawbringer really helps you out with Lord Decius and knocks back those Doom Knights because they are super deadly. And for the armor, he's using Treachery. This is really nice for the increased attack speed, and the main reason for this is because of the level 15 fade you can get when he gets hit. This will increase his resistances by a ton, and it also gives a hidden bonus to physical resistance, which I don't think there's any other item in the game that can give any bonus to physical resistance. So Treachery is really overpowered in that way. I don't think that Blizzard intended for Fade to be so overpowered on an armor, but it just really is. And we've seen many times on the forums and things like that, people would compare Treachery to an item like Fortitude, and there's a lot of arguments about it. And overall, it does seem that Treachery would give your mercenary more survivability than a Fortitude, just because of the resistance bonus and the physical resistance bonus. And for the helmet, I'm using Andariel's. This is really nice for the 20 increased attack speed and the huge life stolen per hit. As I said before, and many times, you always need to make sure that your mercenary, no matter what mercenary it is, except for the Act 3 spellcasting mercenaries, you have to make sure they have life stolen per hit, or there's no way for them to regain their health unless you just give potions to them. And one thing, if you ever want to heal your mercenary, you can just hold down shift and then click the numbers. So then it will use whatever potion that you have in your belt slot, and then it'll give it to the mercenary. And I'm using the 2.4 Frenzy Barbarian. So from what I understand, and there's a lot of things that Blizzard just doesn't explain and they don't put in the patch notes. I've even talked to Mr. Llama about this before, and he was kind of confused about it. And it seems like Lawbringer, when you put it on, it's just going to put another Lawbringer, and it's just going to duplicate it. So he's actually wearing two. And there's also some other really good mercenary options out there as well. You could use an Act 1 bow mercenary with Faith. This will be really good to increase your attack speed, and it will also help out with your damage. It's very expensive though. Faith is a very expensive rune word to make, and the stats on it vary a lot, so it's really up to you if you want to take that risk and take a chance of getting a Faith bow that just doesn't roll very well. Another option is using the Act 2 mercenary with Pride. This gives a concentration aura. This will increase your damage as well, and you could give him a Might aura or a Blessed Aim aura. So the Might aura will increase your damage, and then the Blessed Aim aura will increase your attack rating. So you can definitely make whatever choice you want on that if you want more damage or more chances to hit monsters. I think the Act 1 and Act 2 mercenaries are very expensive. I think the Frenzy Act 5 Barbarian mercenary with Lawbringer is much more cheaper, and it could be much more effective because of the Sanctuary aura and the Decrepify aura. What I do when I start any character in Diablo 2, I just use whatever build is the best playthrough guide that is out there, and then once I get to Hell mode, I respect to whatever type of build I want to play, because there's a lot of builds in Diablo 2 that are really good in Hell mode. However, they're just not very good builds to play through the game. So, and then starting off with the combat skills, on the skill tree, I put 20 points into Berserk. I put 1 point into Natural Resistance. This is really good because, as you can see there, it gives you 54% to all resistances. That's with just 1 point in there. 1 point into Increased Speed. This is really nice because you get a huge bonus to run/walk speed. 20 points into Blade Mastery. This is really going to help out your damage and attack rating with your swords. If you're using something like a Berserker Axe Grief, you want to make sure that you put 20 points into Axe Mastery instead. And this goes for any Barbarian build. You want to make sure that you're putting 20 points into whatever weapon mastery for the weapon that you're using on your character. And for the Warcry skills, I put 20 points into Battle Orders and then 20 points into Howl. The reason why we put 20 points into Howl is because it's a synergy with Berserk, and it's going to increase the magic damage for that spell. And I put 1 point into Find Item. This is a really good spell for a Barbarian. You can go around and just click on dead monsters, and there's a chance that you could get items. This is really good for magic finding, and trust me, there are many times where you will find really good items doing this. It kind of gives you another chance to get items from the same monsters you already killed. So Barbarian is a really fun class to play, and I think Find Item is one of the best features for a build that I've ever seen in any action RPG. And then for the attributes, I put enough points into Strength to use my gear. I put enough points into Dexterity to get max block, If you're using something like Phoenix and you're not going for max block, just put enough points into Dexterity to use your Phase Blade. You're always going to have to put a few extra points into Dexterity if you're using Phase Blades, because as you can see right there, it requires 136. And put the rest of your points into Vitality and Energy none. Also, the resistances are really good on this character. We're pretty much perfect here. One thing I did want to mention, and I think a lot of players never think of this, is there is a chance that you could come across an elite pack that has Conviction. Even if you have perfect resistances, there's a chance that those resistances could go down because that Conviction aura from the elite pack of monsters is going to lower that. Just remember that even if you have more resistances than you need, it can still be useful for your character. Alright, so let's just get into some gameplay right here, and you're just going to see this build is going to absolutely destroy players 8, and it's basically just, it's going to work almost like a hammered in, where you're just almost running around, one-shotting everything, and just the clearing speed is really good. And just remember, we're doing this gameplay on players 8, so this is really going to allow the monsters to drop more items, but they're definitely going to be a lot harder to kill. And before we begin, I just want to show you guys how to play this character real quick and show you the hotkeys. So for me to start off, this is just how I always play the game. All of my characters are set up this way. I always have F5 for battle command. You want to make sure that you cast battle command first, because this is going to give you more skills. So when you cast battle orders, you're going to have more skills. So always make sure that you cast battle command first and then cast battle order, or you're going to be missing out on some survivability there. So F5 for battle command, F6 for battle orders, and then F7 for shout, which is going to increase your defense. And as far as my attack and spell casting hotkeys, I have F1 on the left for Berserk, F2 nothing, and I have F3 for teleport. I've had F3 on teleport for my characters for like 15 years, so it's just always going to be that way.
Thanks.
Not even death can save you from me.
Alright, well that's about it for this video, guys. So thank you so much for watching this Berserk Barbarian guide. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this build. If you have any different suggestions for itemization or any ideas. This is a fresh new character. It's a very unique build that not a lot of players play, so there's always room for some improvement on builds like this. So thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe if you want to keep up with Diablo 2 videos. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next video.